It began with a message on a real estate app. Elena Petrova was tired of moving. She had spent the last 3 years bouncing between rentals, every landlord more careless than the last, every flat falling apart faster than she could settle in. She wanted something steady, something permanent, even if it meant buying a place that wasn't perfect. Scrolling through late at night, she found it. A 2-bedroom apartment on Gorky Street, central enough for her commute, but tucked into one of those gray, monolithic blocks left over from the Soviet era. The price was suspiciously low, but the pictures looked fine. High ceilings, a balcony, a kitchen with yellowing tiles, but space enough for a dining table. When she visited the next morning, the hallway was dim, the kind of stairwell where light bulbs were always missing or flickering. The walls carried the damp smell of decades. An old woman on the 3rd floor eyed her suspiciously, clutching her grocery bag to her chest as though Elena were a thief. Inside the flat, it was even quieter. Dust swirled in the air, though the windows were shut. The rooms felt abandoned, as if no one had lived there for years. The realtor, a nervous young man who avoided direct eye contact, kept insisting, "It's a rare opportunity. The owner just wants to sell quickly. Papers are in order, no complications." Elena felt a strange unease, but signed the deal anyway. She wanted a place of her own, a route to hold her down in the city's endless churn. The first night, she heard the pipes groaning. She told herself it was normal. The second night, she heard footsteps in the hallway outside. But when she opened the door, the corridor was empty. On the third night, she dreamed of water dripping, steady, slow, until she woke and realized the sound wasn't a dream. Somewhere in her new apartment, something was leaking. Yet when she checked the bathroom, the kitchen, the radiators, everything was dry. The drip kept echoing, as if from inside the walls. By the end of the first week, Elena decided to meet her neighbors. She knocked on the door across from hers. No answer. She tried the flat below. A tired man with dark circles under his eyes muttered that he had no time to talk. Only on the 3rd floor did she find someone willing to chat, a woman in her 60s wrapped in a faded robe, standing outside smoking. "You moved into 5B?" the woman asked. "Yes, just last week." The woman's eyes flickered with something unreadable. "Why strange?" Elena asked. The woman exhaled smoke and stared at the ceiling of the stairwell. "People don't stay there long. Every tenant leaves. Some sooner, some later. You'll see." Elena tried to laugh it off. Because of the plumbing? The noise? The woman crushed her cigarette under her slipper. No, because of the apartment itself. That night, Elena kept the lights on. It began in the kitchen, a faint, sour odor, like spoiled milk left out too long. She cleaned the fridge, scrubbed the sink, took the trash out twice. The smell lingered. By morning, it had spread to the living room. By evening, to the bedroom. She called a plumber. He checked the pipes, shook his head. Old building, yes, but nothing broken. Maybe rats in the walls? But Elena never saw rats. Instead, she saw shadows. Small, quick shapes darting just out of her vision, slipping across the floor, vanishing when she turned her head. Once, brushing her teeth, she thought she saw someone standing in the hall mirror, a tall figure, thin, unmoving. When she spun around, no one was there. The drip sound had returned, louder now. It echoed from the bathroom wall, rhythmic, almost like breathing. She went to the local archive one Saturday, determined to understand the flat's past. She told herself it was curiosity, but in truth, she needed reassurance. The building had been erected in the late 1960s, one of hundreds across the city. But when she looked specifically at her address, she found a curious note. A string of police reports from the 1980s. Complaints of disturbances, neighbors reporting screams, tenants requesting urgent transfers. In 1989, there was a single-page incident report. Deceased male found in 5B. Cause of death, exsanguination. No forced entry, no suspects. The victim's name was listed as Sergei Abramovich, age 42. His profession, night watchman. Elena traced the paper with her finger, shivering. When she asked the archivist if she could see more, the woman behind the counter gave her a sharp look. "Some things are better left buried," she said. Elena left the building with her heart pounding. That night, the smell became unbearable. It wasn't sour anymore. It was metallic, like blood. Elena opened the windows wide, though the October air was freezing. She lit candles to mask the stench. She wrapped herself in a blanket and tried to sleep on the couch. At 3:17 a.m., she woke to the sound of footsteps. Not outside, inside. They were slow, deliberate, moving from the kitchen to the hallway. Her phone lay on the coffee table. She reached for it with shaking hands, turned on the flashlight. The beam cut across the hallway, empty, but the footsteps continued, louder now, circling. She whispered, "Who's there?" The air grew heavy. The smell thickened. And then, faintly, she heard it. A man's voice, rasping, low. "Get out." Elena screamed. When she flicked on every light in the apartment, she found nothing. No intruder, no trace of footprints. But in the bathroom, the mirror was fogged, as if someone had just been breathing against it. And in the condensation, 3 words were written with a finger. "Leave or stay." Elena stopped going to work. She stopped answering her friends' messages. She barely ate. The apartment demanded her attention, every hour, every minute. The dripping was constant now, even when the faucets were dry. The shadows moved openly, no longer hiding. Once, she woke to find a man-shaped silhouette standing at the foot of her bed, watching her. She told herself she was hallucinating. Stress, exhaustion, mold in the walls. But the fear was too sharp, too vivid. On the 10th night, she locked herself in the bedroom, barricaded the door with furniture. Still, she heard knocking, soft, patient, from the other side. "Stay," the voice whispered. "Stay." Desperate, Elena returned to the archive. She demanded to see every file, bribed the archivist with money she didn't have. Finally, she found it. A note from 1990, 6 months after Abramovich's death. Unit 5B deemed psychologically unsuitable for habitation. Multiple tenants report hallucinations, voices, paranoia. Building committee recommends indefinite vacancy. Decision overturned due to housing shortages. The apartment had never been normal. It had been hungry, feeding on fear, devouring whoever dared to live there. As she left, the archivist caught her by the arm. "If you're in that place, don't wait too long. It doesn't let go." Elena tried to leave. She packed her bags, dragged her suitcase to the door. But when she opened it, the corridor wasn't there. Instead, the doorway opened into the same living room she had just left. She screamed, tried again and again. Every exit led back inside. Windows showed only blackness, no city beyond. The balcony led back to her kitchen. She was trapped. For days or weeks, time lost meaning. She wandered from room to room, hearing the whispers grow louder. They weren't one voice anymore, but many. Men, women, children, all saying the same word: stay. When neighbors finally noticed the smell and called the police, the apartment was empty. No trace of Elena, only her suitcase by the door. And in the bathroom mirror, fogged as if someone had been breathing against it, new words appeared. "One of us."